In today's episode, hair too long for dress code. Use your PTO within 2 months or lose it. Karen gets a free ride but won't buckle up, enjoys a nice taxi ride home. So let's get started. Hair too long for dress code. A few years ago, I was a department manager for a large conference center. I ran the top performing department, as determined by guest feedback surveys, by a large margin. Like, no other department out of 1,200 employees was even close. And my dress style was always nice and professional. Dress code didn't say we needed to have on button-up shirts and ties, but I did it anyway cause I looked great and professional, and I met with the leaders of large conferences multiple times per day. I dressed to impress. They were my clients, and whatever their problem was, I was going to fix it. My demeanor and professional attire did great things to alleviate their concerns. My bosses got on a dress code kick for some reason. They made me and my small department, 6 people total, start wearing lame colorful standardized shirts with a logo on front. The rationale was that the clients should be able to identify me as a staff member. I get the logic, but that was what my lanyard and name badge were for. Plus, the bright/colorful dress code shirt was actually detrimental to my work, as I often worked backstage as a tech during band performances. Industry standard color for techs is black. But they wanted me to wear bright yellow. Okay, I tell them my concerns for my shirt's bright colors being a distraction for the audience as I do work backstage. My bosses don't care, they made up a new dress code and want me to follow it. Fine. So I wear the shirt. But then I also wear a nice sweater vest, or just a vest, on top it. Still got my tie on. I like ties. But, to make it explicitly clear I'm staff, I get my own hat made, at my own expense too, that shows the company's name on it. Again, my badge and lanyard are always visible. But now I can do my backstage work without being a distraction to the audience that might glimpse my movement as I go about doing scene changes, etc. But then my bosses tell me that the company's logo has to be visible on my shirt, and I therefore can't wear a vest. So then I get the company's logo embroidered on my shirt sleeve, also at personal expense. Problem solved, right? I'm wearing the shirt they gave me and the company's logo is visible. At this point, my boss is pissed at me and is trying to write me up for any possible infringement of company policies. I know how to read a room, and I immediately start going to the HR director to approve of my new and evolving malicious compliances of this ever-changing dress code policy. My boss says that we can't wear hats. Okay, fine. My hair is visible for all to see, and I quickly become aware of the next thing my bosses are going to tell me to fix. My hair. They're going to cite some vague language in the employee handbook about hair length. So I go to the HR director preemptively and ask for clarification for hair length. After a 10-minute conversation, we both agree that I am perfectly fine with nothing to worry about. My hair is nice, in a bun, and looks good. It's well kept and stylish, and my specific clientele actually really like it because they're mostly hipsters anyway. But my bosses don't see it that way. They say that my hair is too long and needs to be cut. I ask them how long is too long. I am, after all, a rule follower and will obey the rules. One of my bosses, a woman with long hair that is actually against dress code because it's not put up into a bun, says that my hair should be less than shoulder length. My hair was in a man bun. I ask her if that policy extends to women as well. She says no, obviously, that this dress code only applies to men. Apologetically and feigning ignorance, I ask her to show me where it says that in the employee handbook. She shows me the section where it says that if the hair is longer than shoulder length, regardless the gender, it should be kept in a bun. I tell her that my hair is in a bun, as opposed to hers. Oh man, now it's getting real. I just called them out. They're not happy. My other boss, a guy with super short hair, less than 1/4 inch long, tells me that as a guy, my hair shouldn't touch my shirt's collar. He tells me that a few stray hairs of mine are touching my collar. I pull out my phone and take a picture of him. I show him that even his 1/4 hair is touching the collar, his head was leaned back and his hair was touching his collar. I ask them again to clarify how long is too long, because his 1/4 hair is too long for their standards. Side note, I love my thick hair. Someone telling me to cut it arbitrarily speaks fighting words. Then they tell me that I just need to do what I'm told because it's company policy, and if I don't do it, they'll get HR involved. I tell them I already got HR involved, and the HR director explicitly told me that my hair was perfectly fine. But these two bosses of mine just wouldn't let it go. They had to go after my hair. They told me that since I'm a manager and meet with group leaders, I have to go above and beyond what the dress code says, and I have to act professional in order for us to receive good guest feedback regarding professionalism. I tell them that me and my department are already the most professional and highest rated department according to guest feedback surveys. I take the printout of the survey results out from my bag, because I anticipated my lack of professionalism was going to be questioned and had it printed in advance, and I show them the survey. They read it, toss the paper aside, and tell me to cut my hair or be written up. Fine. The next day, I come into work with a shaved head. They never told me to cut my hair again, because I looked far worse with no hair. Coincidentally, they also let me wear my hat again, haha. But only because my shaved head was a sore sight. As a point of interest, when I resigned from my position a year later, I submitted to HR my 80-point paper why my two bosses caused me to leave the organization, how they stifled me and my department from doing legitimately good and quality work, and how I felt that under their leadership, I was incapable of ever winning. A month after I left, I heard from a friend and previous coworker who was still at the company that my direct boss was forced to retire, and my other boss was fired. My friend told me that they were privy to a conversation held between the CEO and my female boss, the one who was fired, and my friend overheard the CEO say, "Your time here at this company is over. And I want you to know that when you're gone, your position will not be filled. Consider you and your position eliminated." Lastly, I haven't cut my hair since I left, apart from occasional trims. It's now almost 3 feet long, and I plan on giving my gorgeous lion's mane away to some charity that deals with making wigs for kids. Use your PTO within 2 months or lose it. So this happened roughly 5 years ago. I worked for a grocery store that had gone over several different buyouts. The original company was extremely generous with its paid time off. Because of how many weeks some employees had, a lot of the older employees have made comfortable careers out of working at a grocery store when you could have up to 3 months paid time off. At least one person I knew had this much, but it was very common for people to have 8 to 10 weeks off a year. I myself had 6 weeks PTO after 6 years with the company. Each employee received accrued vacation time, 40 hours paid holiday and 40 hours of vacation a year. All packaged together as my time. Sometime in the summer we were informed that our location was being sold because the parent company was merging with another competitor, and due to a monopoly in the area, the building had to be sold before the merge. The entire transition was hectic. Because the store I worked at was designated the flagship of their expansion, we got brand new cooler cases, displays, paint, the works. On top of taking full inventories of every product in the store and later, ordering heavily from the old company's warehouse to create a stockpile that should last us a few days. All while training in how the new company operates. In the midst of all this there was a revolving door of different managers, HR reps, trainers, trainees and such. Oftentimes with differing or contradictory things to tell us. By the time we were alerted to what would become of our PTO, it was 2 months until the merger was complete. Any employee staying on with the new company negotiated their PTO and wages during interviews with them, but we were unsure of what the old company was going to do in regards to what we had already accrued with them. The head of HR sent out a memo that finally ended all guesswork. Every employee would have 1 week rollover with the new company that can be used during the remainder of the year, and old company would pay out 1 week. anything unused would be lost. We recommend all employees adjust their time off requests to reflect this. Obviously, people started to worry. We were told we had to use it or lose it. So we used it. People clamored to take time off or just call out sick or leave early. The day after the announcement, I had 4 call-outs in my department out of 8 scheduled. Because our PTO was packaged, it was all taken out of the same time bank, so there was no difference between personal days, vacations, or calling out sick. It took the old company almost 2 weeks to change their stance and to renegotiate the terms, upping the rollover to 2 weeks and the payout to 2 additional weeks. On top of that, employees were all allowed to bump their hours up to 40 and use PTO to make up the difference. Karen gets a free ride but won't buckle up, enjoys a nice taxi ride home. This a few years ago, roughly 4. I worked at an office about a 45-minute drive from my house, and I had a friend who worked in the office I would give a ride home to. It was on my way. I literally had to pass by her house to go to and from work, so it was no big deal. Well, a woman who worked in my office lived really close to her, and found out about the arrangement and wanted, and she guilted my friend into asking me since it was on my way. I said okay. Well, at the same time, my late husband's car was in the shop, so I would make a detour to pick him up, and he's a giant of a man, 6'3", and could not physically fit in the back, so to make things easier, my friend would just sit in the back. Well, the other woman, known as Karen, was a big woman, not tall but big. So on the way home, literally the first time she starts getting in the front, I explained to her she has to sit in the back. Well, we get to my husband's job site, and I park and text. She jumps out of the car and gets into the front. I tell her to go back and straight up says no because the seatbelt in the back is too tight, it hurts her chest. I tell her it's too bad, she can get out if she doesn't like it. Well, she gets out and goes to the back seat. My husband gets there and climbs in. I start the car and the seatbelt warning light is on and beeping. She has the seatbelt off. I say you need to put the belt on. I am met with a no, I can't, it's easier if she's in front. Well, I say you're in back, we're not going anywhere until the belt is on. She crossed her arms like a child and says I guess we're not going anywhere. I tell her if she doesn't put the belt on she can get out and walk home. With a nice bit of snark she says, well, you better call me a taxi. That pissed off, and that's what I did, I called a taxi. She puts her belt back on, but I say it's too late, get out, you have a taxi coming. I say you can get out of my car now, or the police will be happy to remove you. She gets out and her jaw almost hit the road as it drove away. Outside, my friend, I never let anyone from work in my car again. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.